So here we have another one of the stories that should generate sustained outrage. I wish we could replace every Stormy Daniels headline with a headline about this, but instead we get nothing. So this is from Huffington Post. They say, the U.S. has the authority to keep prisoners locked up at the Guantanamo Bay detention camp for a century without charging them with a crime as long as the U.S. keeps fighting terrorist groups like the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, or its affiliates, the Trump administration argued in federal court on Wednesday. According to the administration, it is impossible to put a time limit on how long the men at Guantanamo will remain imprisoned. Some of them have already been held for more than 16 years without charge because it's impossible to know how long the fight against various terrorist groups will continue. Senior U.S. District Judge Thomas Hogan asked what the government would do if the conflict lasted 100 years. Justice Department lawyer Ronald Wiltsey responded, quote, yes, we could hold them for 100 years. Yes, we could hold them for 100 years. Now, we have people like Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump who, whenever there's a domestic incident, they go, oh, no trial, even if it's an American citizen, no trial, lock them up, rules of war, no representation, no due process, no nothing, indefinite detention, let's go. That's what they say. So if the U.S. government gets to arrest people in the U.S. who either are or aren't citizens and hold them indefinitely, if we get to take people from overseas and hold them indefinitely, no trial, no due process, then we do realize rule of law doesn't exist, right? There's a reason we have due process. The whole idea of due process is, oh, the government fucks up and gets it wrong a decent amount of the time, so you need to have a process in place whereby an independent judiciary adjudicates whether or not this person should be locked up and what the proper punishment is. If you get rid of the independent judiciary, if you get rid of people having their day in court, well, then it's a tyrannical government. It's a dictatorship. It's a unitary executive that can do whatever the fuck they want. And that's what this is. So you could even take U.S. citizens, lock them up, no trial. They say yes. They say yes. So then, here's what I need. Nobody who would ever defend this system to ever refer to themselves as a constitutionalist again, or an originalist. Never, ever, ever again. By the way, and we're not just talking about the Constitution for the record. As they point out, under international law, you are allowed to have prisoners of war, but when the war ends, you have to release them. You could either charge them or release them. Now, what happens when the war is endless? It's a permanent war. It's an endless war. That's what the war on terror is. Because you're not fighting a war against another army from a different country. You're fighting a war against a tactic. There's always going to be terrorism. In the same way, there's always going to be murder. So, if there's always going to be terrorism and you're fighting a war on terror, and we're bombing 7 different countries right now, still have 2 full-scale wars going on, and there's no signs of us ever leaving, well, then we're going to be permanently at war, which means we permanently lock these people up. And they're saying it now. Yes, we can hold them for 100 years. So spare me and Trump campaign. Law and order is what I care about. Law and order. Unless, of course, it's the authorities and the government itself breaking the law, in which case, it's okay, it doesn't matter, because I declare that we are above the law. So they don't believe in law and order. And they're not originalists, and they don't believe in the Constitution. They don't believe in due process. They don't believe in the fucking Magna Carta. They don't believe in the Geneva Conventions. So I just need everybody to understand, here's the real scandal. They can talk about Stormy Daniels all they want. They can talk about Russia all they want. And by the way, you're not making anybody come to your side when you yelp and bitch and moan about issues like that. If you want to talk about American values, and you want to talk about Enlightenment values, and you want to talk about the Constitution and what we should be focusing on, it's this. It's this. We've gone back to fucking pre-Magna Carta days, and the media won't even talk about it. And our authoritarian government is like, yeah, totally, cool, love it. And then every asshole right-wing judge, like Brett Kavanaugh, who's probably going to end up being on the Supreme Court, they look at situations like this, they go, yeah, what's the problem? Lock them up indefinitely, no trial. Oh, by the way, I'm also a constitutionalist, and I believe in the plain-faced reading of the Constitution. Hilariously stupid. And then I haven't even brought up the practical issues with this, which is, We've covered the stories. We got people into Guantanamo Bay by cutting deals with warlords in Afghanistan and Pakistan. It turns out they're not trustworthy. They just sent us whoever the fuck their enemies were. So these aren't actual terrorists in many instances. Some of them might be. Many of them are not. So you lock up people who are innocent, and we have no trial. This is beyond outrageous. Do you believe in what our values are supposed to be, or do you not? I actually believe in them. I believe in due process. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in them, which is why I'm out here arguing about this and why I'm probably the only fucking person covering it. Because this is, I can't adequately describe to you how radical and extreme this is, what we're doing, and how insanely authoritarian it is. And it's not even getting covered. Quote, yes, we could hold them for 100 years without due process, without a trial, without their day in court. Fuck the Geneva Conventions, fuck the Magna Carta, fuck the Nuremberg Tribunal, fuck international law, fuck the U.S. Constitution, fuck it all. Law and order, don't care. Don't care. We're going to break the law. The government is going to say we're above the law. We have to do whatever the fuck we want. Well, then don't talk about law and order. Don't talk about how you believe in the Constitution. Don't talk about how you believe in Enlightenment values. You don't. You don't. If you believe in them, you act them out. You're not acting them out. You're doing the opposite. You're doing the opposite here. So this drives me fucking crazy, man. The tenets of civilized society are being abandoned, and nobody's even discussing it. They said, yes, we can hold them for 100 years. Imagine being one of those people locked up, and you didn't even do it. You didn't even do it. No evidence, no process. You didn't even do it. We're just going to lock you up indefinitely. Is that the country we want to be? Some people answer that with a resounding yes.